Welcome to the SEI podcast series, a production of Carnegie Mellon University's Software Engineering Institute. The SEI is a federally funded research and development center sponsored by the Department of Defense. A transcript of today's podcast will be available at sei.cmu.edu/podcasts. My name is Eileen Rubel, and I'm a senior member of the technical staff here at the SEI. With me today is Hasan Yasar, who is the technical manager for our DevOps team. Hasan and his team regularly publish on the SEI's DevOps Blog, but this is our first opportunity to have a podcast with him. Today, we're here to talk with Hasan about integrating security practices on the DevOps platform. Welcome, Hasan.
Eileen, thanks for having me in. I'm glad to be part of the podcast series. I have done the web and other things, but this is going to be very exciting for me to be part of that engagement. So.
Great. I think we're going to have a good conversation today.
I like it. So that's my hobbies things, and then we'll talk about it.
Great. Before we start talking about the report that we're going to focus on today, can you tell us a little bit about your background and your role here at the SEI?
Yeah, so I have more than probably 20 years experience in software development. I graduated from EE's by having an engineering background, but switched to software engineering after that. Since then, I have been writing a lot of applications and using different technologies. Then I joined the SEI 7 years ago. And when I joined the SEI, that's kind of like a DevOps journey started for me because I brought a mainly industry experience to the SEI while managing many different projects. Because the SEI, we have different projects and small size to the big size, and maybe like a 1 month work to the couple of years of work, different type of works. So that ended up basically doing a lot of industry practices in innovative ways. That's how I start for SEI. And then I'm managing the technical software development teams, and we do as doing engineering work, we're writing a code for our sponsors and developing a prototype proof of concept applications. We are practicing DevOps hands-on experience, not as reading, but actually practicing how we do to save our days, then which is creating a lot of outcome and a lot of artifacts for building DevOps portfolio.
Great, great. Why don't we talk a little bit about, just to give some of our newer audience members some understanding of where we're going, can you give us a brief introduction into what DevOps is and why it's so hard to incorporate security into all of that?
Right, that's a very loaded question. So DevOps is changing from person to person, organization to organization. Everybody has their definitions. So I'm going to say my definition is not as based on the encyclopedia or anything else. This is specific to our experience. So DevOps is the kind of a practices and best practices and also the set of principles and goes together between developers and also operational team. But it's not that only for developer and operational teams, it's including other stakeholders. So in industries and more about just the dev and ops team, that's come like a dev and ops teams together and started as initially more about operational team. So idea was get the operational team and working with the dev or the talking each other's for deployment and release or addressing other problems. So, but our definition is more broad. Our means in SCI, based on our experience, we have to include all other stakeholders. Whoever is responsible for application development, that align with the business goals, that align business objectives, they all have to be part of the DevOps team. So that means we should have engagement with other stakeholders all together looking for the same business goals, achieving the high reliability and secure application. That's our definition of DevOps. Maybe loaded, but that's based on our experience. So how can we get the security into the DevOps? So there's a lot of misunderstanding community as well. Because DevOps is more about the faster and quicker release. Because based on the business needs, right? The organization policy says, hey, we have to get this feature into our customers yesterday. Not for a couple days later, yesterday. So which is forcing a lot of pressure for development team or operational team and developing applications so quick and so fast, push into the production, which is end user needs to have that features because of the market demands. So in that context, very fast and very quick, and security folks, they don't like that heavy changes because every change is creating a lot of questions, a lot of problems with the security operational folks specifically, because security operational folks are looking for the best practices, or they're looking for the controls based on their organizational security policies. That depends on the organization. If the organization financial industry, if organization is more about restricted environment, maybe looking for other compliances, they may have different policies and procedures. So it's very difficult to get the pace of the quicker release and fast release into the life cycle or the production environment, because security folks, they would like to test for every changes. But having a constant change, there's no way to get security as part of it. That's the number one problem. Like in Amazon case, and there's like a sometimes millisecond interval for any quick release. So security folks are getting freaked out because they don't want to go and change and look for everything is from the beginning. So that's the misunderstanding difficulties. Why is difficult to DevOps? Because of that reason. But however, actually DevOps is enabling getting security into the life cycle because of the platform, integrated platform, because other components. It looks like it's difficult, but actually it's easy to get the security in DevOps. So how is that possible? So we can deep dive in more. But principally, there's three components getting security. One is organizational policies and procedural things. Very difficult to get it because organization more about the siloed, and security teams more about a different building maybe and different team. Totally, they're not part of developers, or they're not part of the operational team as well, or they're not part of the requirement gathering team. So, which is cultural problem, more about the siloed problem. The other problem is more about the technology related, because security operational folks are using different tools probably, which is not compatible with the developers. Like specific example, maybe security operation are using management tools and keep tracking the vulnerabilities, or looking for any security controls or risk management framework, how they do that in their environment. That may not be compatible with what the developers are using it. Like if developers are using the Linux-based environment, if the security operational team are using more about the Windows-based environment, if they're not talking to each other, even though they would like to talk, but they cannot talk with the tool level, or they cannot talk about how the developer feel a comfort zone in that level. If they cannot talk, they cannot share experience. So how they're going to share their experience or the requirements? And most of the time, security folks are sharing documentation via email. They're saying, here's our top 10 controls. Look for the OSP 10, top 10, or look for the NIST framework. Or here's our organizational security policies. So when we give a bunch of documents to developers, and developer will not enough time to digest the documents in a level of writing a codes, because the developer are thinking that's not my job, the security operational team's job, which is creating another difficulties. So as summarization, like people is the problem, means like in the cultural things. An organizational problem, organization is creating more siloed between the teams. And also technology problems are the three main problems that we are seeing.
So it feels to me like, so I have a conversation a lot about engaging security and accreditation authorities with software teams, and shifting the focus from really being a place where things stop to get checked, and bringing that group in at the very beginning as much as possible, so that they can inform the requirements in a steady way, rather than dumping a bunch of controls on a development team.
That's absolute. So we would like to get the security as early possible into the life cycle. But there's a misunderstanding here in others, because a lot of organizations, they are thinking, I have 100 developers, I have 5 security operational people, or the security expert. So how can we bring the 5 security expert into the 100 development teams, or more developers? We cannot get every sprint planning meetings. We cannot get in daily scrum. These are the challenges we are seeing it. So by using DevOps methodologies, which we wrote in the paper, we experiment as well. If we have a fully DevOps platform, integrated, means like from beginning to end. Integrated means it's visible and also transparent to all the stakeholders. So we're expecting the security folks should be part of the early cycle. It means like day number 1. If the application is going to be developed, or new features will be added into the legacy system or all the previous systems. As soon as when the order comes from the business analyst, right, or the business developer, whoever the decision maker, as soon as when the things come into live, so as soon as before developer touching the keyboard, a security team either they can share what are the possibilities or the procedural things, or they can be part of the first engagements, like in terms of what are the security requirements of this application will have, or what are the risks that organization should able to handle that, like what are the compliances we should be complying based on application. That has to be shared at the beginning. When it is shared in a level of the developer comfort zone, like not giving the Word documents or not giving a huge number of pages. We would like to see how the security operational team are using issue tracking system or wiki pages. That can be part of development team as well. So developers can use a similar wiki environment, most likely with everybody else, or the sharing the information from a security operational team in a text format that can be part of the wiki pages, which developers are using it, or using issue tracking systems as part of it. So we have that one step right there. Then as soon as when the architect comes in the picture or the designer comes in the picture designing the application, they can create the security requirements for that features. Again, it's going to be part of that issue tracking system, which is part of over-integrated platform. So as soon as when the ticket is created, that developer will develop that functions, and then security components will be part of that function as well. So security team, they can see, okay, that code has been developed based on the security policy that we already shared. So now code goes into the repositories, and that can be another component or another check that can be done over there, which can be a code review and can be other components which depends on organization, like static analysis can be done over there. So it's kind of like a code review process. Then again, that result can be seen from the security operational team. They can say, yes, we saw the requirements and we saw it has been checked already. So second time we checked. Now, when the bunch of other developers, maybe 6-7 people are working these different functionalities, when they merge together, that can be more testing done as part of the CI server, which is continuous integration server as part of it. So the beginning, whoever collecting requirements, they may write the typical abuse cases. They may write the typical security testing cases. So typically security testing is done at the end.
Right.
However, we can get the security testing, how the security operational team are testing application. So we can move that security testing to the beginning. So beginning means like a scripting, basically. Security operational team, they should share that information. When they share it, so that can be part of the CI server, which is continuous integration server. So we can start to check any write-up that we had it before in a script against that application, we will develop that. So now, once we go into the staging environment, we can do more testing. Can be fast testing, can be pen testing specific to the security operation and how they do. Then goes to the staging, and then they finally go to production environment. So there's many steps in the life cycle that can be checked. But security operational folks, as I said at the beginning, they are doing more at the end, which is too late because at the end it is costing so much time in terms of fixing any known vulnerabilities or fixing anything that's been discovered at the late, because it's going to go back to the sprint plan, depends on what type of application development methodology they were using it. If it is agile, maybe a 3-week sprint. So it's going to delay 3 weeks.
Right.
And depends on time as well, and depends on the complexity of the component. It will take more time to code it. So one single bug has been discovered at the end. It's going to cost probably 2-3 months. So that's going to become a 0-day vulnerability for the criminals. They will see, because it's not been discovered yet, so how can we fix quickly? Because it's going to take so much time. That's another component of the getting a quicker and early fixing.
Right, because we know, I mean, we know that the further away we get in the life cycle from the point at which a defect is injected, it costs us more in terms of everything to fix it.
Right.
So yeah, if we are doing something with real-time security implications, if a bad actor knows it's going to take us 3 months to fix something, there's a lot of damage they can do in 3 months.
Has been done already.
Right?
So if the damage is done, the other things coupled with what operation team does, they're trying to get more the security or network boundaries in application to try to protect it. But it's not really fixing the application. It's kind of like a Band-Aid solution. You're just going to Band-Aid here, Band-Aid there, but it's not really fixing the overall application, because we are really doing at the moment once we discovered. If we design at the beginning, but our overall pipeline or the procedural things, which is DevOps way, should be open for any type of security vulnerabilities, because we cannot develop application 100% secure. We are making difficult. We are making very challenging for the criminals. They cannot hack it or they cannot change it, more control. But our system should be able to respond quickly, which is a kind of band-aid. So if that means like we should have any traceability throughout the life cycle, then if the incident happened, it may happen. If we discovered any vulnerabilities for at the end, then we have to fix it and we find a problem. So we should be able to roll back quickly, which is the DevOps way. We have to roll back quickly the previous version, and then we have to go back and change, look who has been designed and who touched it, which is completely integrated because we know who are the developers, because it's kind of like a quick incremental release. We can go back quickly and fix it and release in a short time frame because we can automate all the deployment procedural things. We can automate the testing. So as soon as when the code has been changed, then code can be integrated automatically, then again go to the staging environment is automated. So that's basically creating automation in life cycle makes much easier to quickly fix it. And depends on, again, the policy things which we discuss about the DevOps procedural things in the policies as well.
Right. I really liked what you talked about in the paper. You said that there's so much of software security that's about, we know these types of activities, we know that the threat surfaces look like this, so we build some barriers. But the idea that we build code that bends but doesn't break even when it's faced with threats that we don't anticipate.
Right, so specifically when I say bend, I'm looking for more easy to respond.
Right.
So we will get the requirements like typically risk management team or the threat analysis team, they will define what type of threats we are getting for our application or organizational things. So by knowing that threat and by knowing that principles, then we can start to develop application that's going to be available to receive, but at the same time, we should be able to go back, fix it if we see something else right away. So there's kind of like a balance. How much we can write secure code, it's costing so much money probably, because we have to find out what are the right balance. We cannot get 100% secure at the beginning because it will take so much time. As I said, like DevOps thinking which have to go and look for the more business goals, right? If you look for more business goals, then our application should be compatible to release quickly, right? So if we are delaying the new features, which we're going to lose the market. So how much we can do security, that means we have to make it a level that everybody will agree on it, then we can pass by knowing the higher priority, we will fix higher priorities, right? If you see a low priority risk, well, it's okay to have it because we can go back and fix it easily. That's kind of like the bend strategy. So we can go back and fix quick because we know exactly where we can go and fix it. We can try to put other mitigation, probably fix the code, or make it other mitigation to secure environments. So these are things we can play around throughout the life cycle.
I read in your piece that Amazon averages something like 1 deployment per second over the course of a year. And so thinking about problems at that scale, the idea of integrating security into the DevOps process and the software lifecycle at the very beginning, it seems like that's the only way when we're dealing with problems like that. That's the only way that we can go ahead and have that kind of reliability and responsiveness to customer needs or to the business goals.
My definition is, going back to the work-wise, we are building the blocks, right? In the security mindset, in the old days, we have to check from everything, the beginning, right? We have to look for every code. It will take time. However, if we change the features that we know it's a small features, which how Amazon does, other big organization does, how to scale it up, we can look at security complication of that feature zone, which is a limited. Maybe sometimes changing the label, maybe adding a new text into the web pages, or changing small features, and depends on architecture component as well. So we have to check for the security on that features only. We don't need to look for the overall application from day number one. Takes maybe months, maybe a years. So that's the barrier so far. So what we are saying is we have to check security every time. It's kind of like a continuous security. When we have new features, we have to look what are the security possibilities that we have to address on that features. Then throughout the life cycle, we can address multiple points for the specific features. So it's once we have automated, once we integrate it, we can look for the security multiple perspective and multiple points, and then so we can achieve that a quicker and faster release. Versus scanning the code, it's impossible. So we have to look incremental, the version of that code which is going to the repositories. We know exactly what has been done for next day or yesterday. That we know exactly what are the code stuff. We will check it out. So it's going to be about incremental checking, not for overall checking we would like to do.
Okay. So if I'm at a software company and I'm looking to make a change, I'm looking to start integrating security more to the left and embrace a DevOps mindset. What can I do now? What are my next steps now?
So to get started immediately, maybe very difficult, maybe scary, but we can, first of all, we have to change our mindset, because we cannot say, this is not my job as a developers,
Right.
it's only for secret operational job. No, it's everybody's job. From C-level person to all the way to the low-level developers, it's everybody's job, basically, to get the secret. That's the number of things. We have to change our mindset. We have to say, this is our secret. If something happens to the organization, everybody will pay the penalties. Not only for me, it's everybody. So we have to change the cultural thinking's mindset. It may be very difficult, but that should start from upper management and also from bottom up to top and top to bottom, so we can find a common ground in between. And I would like to suggest other things also, changing the cultural things, organization, mindset, and the culture is the second one. So sharing the cultures, like secret operational folks, they should share what are the known threats for developers. So they should educate the developers, means, hey, here is the problem that I find out, instead of saying that your code is not working, your code is bad, but we would like to get more feedback from the security team. Your code is vulnerable because of this is the problem I discovered. Here's how you fix it.
Right.
Here's the information you can go find out, fix it. Because we are increasing the knowledge in developers as well, because we cannot get everybody trained writing a secure code. It's an incremental process. When they make mistakes, they will learn that. So how we let them learn, they have to see the result from the operational team. They have to know how they can fix it. And they know what are the resources available. So once they fix, they will share that information through wiki pages probably, or they can share the information by responding to the issue tracking system, what they have. So when it is fixed, and it's how it is fixed, then the next developer will learn, oh, how can I fix it? And then so they can learn gradually and writing a better code and writing a much more secure code. So which is learning as well, the component. Other things we would like to suggest more about the organizational tool set. So try to get more integrated tools. And even though people are talking each other when they go their cubics or an office, we don't want to let them sharing different tool sets, which is creating another silo and other barriers. So we are breaking the silos by bringing team together in a room. When they go to their offices, if they're using different tool set, still we are enforcing some silo. We don't want to get that silos either. So.
It creates a discontinuity if the tools can't talk to each other. So.
Right. It's the human, they're going to use the tools. Right. So it's all connected together. Having a tools, we're not going to solve the problem. We are using the tools, and we are putting the process, and we are responsible for the code. So it's kind of like a whole life cycle things, including human, including process, including tool stack.
There's a change in philosophy, a change in culture, and some upfront investment.
Right.
With an emphasis on automation and collaboration.
That maybe scare the financial folks if you say it's requiring more upfront investment, because we don't want to spend so much money. But honestly, if they find a defect at the end, it is costing much more money to fix it. And also if the company data got compromised, it's creating more about the reputation problems or other type of issues. They may see that, which is creating more damage into the organization versus spend a little bit upfront money and put a process and put all the controls in the system, let them work together. So spending a little bit upfront thinking and upfront investment is paying off a lot. So if you ask what is the return of investment, it depends on the organization. Like your return of investment is different than mine, because my developer cost is different than somebody else's developer cost. Or my risk is lower than somebody else. It depends on the risk and depends on the organization. So definitely there is a return on investments a lot. Like as we said at the beginning, if you fix the one features early versus waiting at the end, if the organization have a 3-week sprint, it's going to cost a month.
Right.
Versus getting a secured early on. So if one developer is working, depends on how much developer is making, one feature is going to cost a month minimum a delay. Versus address at the beginning, so we are saving over there. And multiply with hundreds, multiply with 1,000, that's the number actually I can say that.
So a big focus here at the SEI is transitioning knowledge from our research and from our client engagements to our stakeholders and the public. What kinds of resources are available now for folks who are interested in taking a DevOps journey?
So as our role in SEI, we are practicing here in different environments and different technologies, and also different and then probably organizational, cultural things. When we learn and we are sharing our experience and through the SEI blog post, and we are constantly going and talk to the conferences, sharing our experience and sharing what we learn and give it to the communities. So if you are in the restricted environment, how you do that? If you're in a controlled environment, how you do that? So that type of things we do. And through the SEI, the webinar series and blog posts, and also the papers that we are writing, and also talking through the conferences. That's how we share our information to the communities.
Great. And your blog posts are available on the DevOps blog at insights.sei.cmu.edu/DevOps. I think that's where they are.
Yep.
So what's next for your team for new work in DevOps?
So we are working right now to improve the more practices and expanded our more automation throughout the securities. And also we are looking for more about the blueprint type of approach to the DevOps. Like we are getting a lot of questions. All right, I heard the DevOps, and I would like to implement DevOps in my organization. And I heard how Amazon does, how Google does. Can I use the tools the same thing what Amazon and Google does? We are saying, no, you cannot get the tools. There's a process. You have to understand who you are first and what are the organizational skills are. So we are working more about the understanding the needs and defining DevOps based on the needs. Not the goal of releasing quickly. What are the principles of DevOps that are going to be benefit to the organization? Not only for taking DevOps principle quicker and faster release, but at the same time think about what are the principles I can use DevOps for my organizational effectiveness and traceability and other components. So we are working more in that topic right now and giving the more communities more intelligent way to pick the DevOps, more intelligent way to implement the DevOps. So not saying maybe a bullet, but some sort of like sharing the typical reference architecture and typical abstract model and how the DevOps can be implemented in the organization, and specifically for DoD-centric that we're looking for to develop more on the topics.
Okay, so to help people, to guide them towards the decisions that they need to make with helping them consider all the factors that are at play in their context.
Yep. That's absolutely. So being at FFR, this is an SEI, we are not looking for a specific tools, and I don't believe that one tool is going to solve everything.
Right.
But when you look at the tools, they'll say we'll solve everything in the DevOps. The first we have to understand what are our needs, what we have to do in organizationally, what our application stack is required. So be intelligent and picking the right tools and putting a procedural things within the organization, within development teams. That's the work we are working right now specifically.
Great. That sounds really exciting. I can't wait to hear more of what comes out of it.
Thank you.
Hasan, thank you for joining me today to talk about this work.
Thanks for having me, Eileen.
It was a really good time. Hasan recently co-authored a paper entitled Where to Integrate Security Practices on a DevOps Platform, and that's available in the International Journal of Secure Software Engineering. He and his team regularly author posts on the SEI's DevOps blog at insights.sei.cmu.edu/DevOps. We'll provide links to all the resources we discussed today in the transcript of this podcast, which will be available on the SEI website at sei.cmu.edu/podcasts. It will also be available on Carnegie Mellon University's iTunes U site and the SEI's YouTube channel. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email us at info.sei.cmu.edu. Thank you.